We have seen a surge in education thanks to investments and the forced transformation of COVID into hybrid and distance learning. And thanks to an investment of organizations and districts, we have seen families have a greater access to technology and the internet. Before we can dig into the future, we need to understand where has education been. Since 2010, enrollment in teacher education courses has declined by more than 1/3. 44% of teachers have quit teaching within 5 years of starting teaching. In 2018, public education employees had the fastest resignation rate. In 2017, 18,757 teachers were not certified to teach what they're teaching. What? And this is the craziest one to me. In 2017, 8 states reported that there's a total of 6,424 vacancies that had not been filled that year. If you look back at this data, you're going to notice that this isn't anything new. This has been a trend that's happening for a long time. And if you go back and do some research, you're going to see this. And it doesn't look to be improving anytime soon. And if you're wondering, well, what's the causes for this? Well, I don't want to go too much in depth with that, but here's what I found so far. However, this isn't the purpose of the video. Today, we're talking about what is the future of education. With the push through COVID, our students have gained considerable access to technology and the internet. And because of this, we're going to continue to see a push through educational software and technology. However, there are some students and teachers that are ready to go back to pencil and paper. And that's not without merit. There's been many studies done that show that students that take notes by pencil and paper perform better than those that take notes on their computer by typing. You may be wondering, well, we're talking about in 20 years from now, are we going to go back to the way things were? No, we're going to be talking about how things are going to adapt and evolve. Education does move slow. So I believe in 20 years, we're going to be seeing a big difference in schools that are willing to embrace that discomfort of innovation and those that want to stay in their comfort zone. These innovative schools are going to have students working on a variety of grade level content within a single class. So instead of students moving forward based on age and content, which is kind of what we have now, where it doesn't matter if you've mastered or not, you're going 6th grade math, 7th grade math, 8th grade math, algebra, and so on. You're going to be having a student being in a 7th grade class, but they're working on the content that they're trying to master, but also mixed in with some grade level appropriate pieces. These problems are going to be problem-based education. It's not going to be these skill-based education. And with this, we're going to be focusing on teaching students how to problem solve, how to analyze data, and how to communicate their thinking. And that's the main driver in education. And what students are working on is going to adapt based upon a variety of data points. And by the way, a lot of this technology is already out there. It just needs to get put together and made. And then what I'm hoping for, but I don't think it'll be ready in 20 years, is that educational software will allow students to have the choice to focus in on their interest groups to show their understanding of, well, whatever it is we're trying to teach them. But that may not be in 20 years, that may be down the road from there. All this is possible because students have a greater access to technology and internet than ever before. And I'm not advocating that students sit in front of a computer all day, every day. That's not best. All right, we've done that just recently and it doesn't work. Learning is collaborative. Students are going to be working together to solve these problems and build things together. That is our future. That's what's going to help students be prepared for their future as adults. Our role as a teacher in the classroom is going to adapt. It's going to evolve from the teacher to the coach in the classroom, to where we're going to be guiding students to finding resources for their learning and supporting them to become their best selves. And how this is going to look in the classroom is that students are going to be practicing and working together, trying to figure something out or build something in order to practice or show their understanding. There's going to be times, just like we do as adults, when we're trying to figure out how to do something, we look it up online, and we find a video or find a resource online, a walkthrough or something, and that's how we learn how to do something, and our students are going to be doing that same thing. They're not going to be relying on us as the sole source of information. They're going to be practicing, finding information themselves, become those self-learners. And as they're practicing and they're ready to show their understanding, then they're going to have choice in how they show their understanding. It's not like a test or quiz. Well, if they really want to, that could be a way it works. But it could also be they're going to make a video, they're going to make a website, a new blog, they're going to build something, whatever it is, they're going to do some way to show that they understand what it is that we're trying to get through with at least this certain part of our content. And then they show it to us, they present it to us, And we start this feedback cycle with our students. It's a cycle, so it could be a part where they have to try again and again and again in order to show their understanding. And some students, it's going to be like, hey, you should probably go check out this resource here and fix some misunderstandings that you have, and then come back when you're ready. And for some students, it's going to be like, wow, this is amazing. I love it. I wish I can post this on a tutorial for how to do this for other students. And maybe you do that, depending on what you're allowed to do with your district. Maybe it's just in your classroom, it's put up somewhere. The biggest difference between education then and now is going to be that students are going to be working on a variety of content all within the same classroom. What this means is that a student can be working on one standard and then get frustrated with it, and they can choose to work on another, and they can always come back to this one as needed. They're going to be able to monitor their own progress through their grade level content. And this can be done through either badges or accomplishments or some sort of tracking system that students have access to. So they're going to be in charge of what they're learning and when they're learning it. And like I was saying, the role of this teacher is going to change to more of a coach. And just like any coaching, we can't run the race or compete in the games with our athletes. We can design workouts for them, we can strategize with them, and we can motivate them to be their best, but we have to let them do the competing on their own. And just like any coaching, it's not necessarily about the sport itself, but it's about building up the whole athlete or their whole child. In the future, we're going to have less time designing and giving instruction, and we'll spend more time connecting and building these social and emotional supports that our students need in order to become healthy adults. We're going to be seeing a great emphasis on communication, reasoning, and data analysis, and less on calculations and remembering facts. Because information and tools are at their fingertips. Literally, they have phones. So we're going to be teaching them how to access and use these resources instead of doing these menial tasks that have little to no influence on their futures. And this may be more than 20 years away. However, we're already seeing schools designing around this principle that we're going to prepare students for their futures. If you know this is possible, then you probably see in a classroom, a school, or a district that's been willing to embrace that discomfort and innovation and dip their toes into the style of teaching and learning. I have a vision for what's going to take the pulse off completely, and we're almost there. The technology is available, we're just waiting for someone to come in and make it whole. As I mentioned earlier, there has to be change in education. And then really, this change that I believe is going to happen is going to be good for our students, our staff, and our communities as a whole. And I'm really excited to be part of this change.